Alrighty, hopefully we are back. Let's see. Can y'all hear me?
We all love
Well, I can definitely tell that part's working. But hopefully y'all can hear me. Yeah, there's a issue that I was having with the dock here that I'm hoping is resolved now. See, working on the 100% events guide. If anybody can hear, if you could go ahead and drop a message of some sort, please. Sorry, so there's an issue that I was having with my dock that I'm trying to correct. I meant to do this undocked for the next one, but completely forgot. Either darn ways. See if it's corrected or not. And not seeing responses. Dang it. It is fudged, isn't it? Yeah, it just made it... Alrighty. There we go. Now it's working, now it's working. Okay, well, it's a completely different one. I'm gonna have to stitch this crap together later. Okay, whatever. Anyways, everyone's here. That's what matters. Honestly, I have no idea why last time it gave me the option to rejoin it, and this time it just decided no thanks. Whatever. Stream fudgery. It'll happen, I suppose. Alright, so, I forget what the hell I was talking about, but thank y'all for coming back over here. Alright. So as far as getting past this fight, poison is probably going to be pretty necessary in a moment here. We're going to probably want to start going for the boss. Let's see. Any kind of potentially good options for you? Maybe just poison both these two? Nope. Alright. Cool thing, for those that didn't know, you got locked-in percentages in this version, which basically means that whenever there's a unit that, for example, would be essentially taking only a certain, let's say have an amount that is below 0 that they would have hit with the right skills, you can guarantee that it's always going to be a minimum of a pretty forgiving number, so that's just kind of handy. Anyway, there was a wizard here. He is... Oh, shoot, he bounced back the wrong way. I was going to say he's gone now, but in that particular case, he ended up bouncing in the wrong direction and not bouncing off the archer next to him. Bummer. Which is fine. I guess we can sort that problem out with a little bit of rain. And then he died. Dandy. But yeah, YouTube's weird that. See, believe in yourself and you'll be okay. I mean, alright. Hopefully it works that way. Yeah, I was trying to take that approach the other day. I was going out and doing some deliveries and whatnot, and it was this week where I was expecting to reach a particular number, and kept trying to reach there. I was only 19 bucks shy of actually getting there. So I kept staying out like, maybe those last couple orders will come in. I can still pull this off. And long story short, just the entire city was apparently closed because Sunday's the only day that they do that. So it turns out no amount of belief will make stoners get their Taco Bell on a Sunday. That's apparently a thing. Anyway... Okay. Can you do anything useful? No. But you can go in this direction. It's going to generally keep yourself safe. In many ways, this is kind of more chess-like if you think about it, because we got to keep our king safe and protected and out of harm's way at all times. Alright, let's go ahead and block off this direction. Get a little bit of a crit going on our crossbow. See if we can maybe pull off this shot right here. There we go. That is them dealt with. Alright. That guy's just going to go on forward, get a slight amount of... Well, this just worked out great in all directions, didn't it? They just abused my zombie to go and cause a bunch of extra stuff to me. I would like that Berserker, though. The early game Berserkers are going to be pretty handy. That said, can we maybe turn their Archer against them? Not quite. Alright. Back you out of there. So debuff casters are going to be kind of our standard throughout the run, since we're never really going to be running damage stats for the most part. That's not to say that we'll never get damage stats, but they're just generally going to be pretty reliable at doing that things particularly well. Let's see, Reborn fixed the loot drop issue, no more needing to think about taking loot. Yeah, you can just go and take back your loot. So like that guy stole that loot over there, if we kill him, he drops it. It's one of those, one of many things that makes Reborn just more fun to play. I mean, between SNES and, let's see, between SNES and this version, it's not even close. Between this version and PSP, it is, again, not even close in terms of how many things got improved. The only time that there's actually a kind of a fair competition between two Tactics Ogre games, it would be either between this and the One Vision Overhaul, and it just kind of depends what mood you're in, you know? Just because, like, this one has the, by far, the pacing and quality of life edge, but then you've technically got more knobs to screw around with for One Vision, so it's just kind of whatever you're feeling that time. Alright, let's see, anyone we can recruit? We might be able to recruit you. Would you like to be a friend, Mr. Whiston? Or Wystan, or Whiston? In case he's feeling particularly French, because everything has to sound French now, because people have been ordering me to try Jeanne d'Arc for a while now, and I finally got stuck in a waiting room yesterday and went to try it. And yeah, y'all weren't kidding. That thing's got style for days. Not sure about the actual balance, but hey, you know, it's got stuff. It's got charm. Alright, we should probably make Denim run now. He's got no hope of defending himself here. Alright. We do, however, have one of their units on our side, which does give us a lot more to play with here. I'm really curious to see how this is all going to play out at level 1, though. Because it's largely, again, going to be the same thing, but at a distance. Where essentially we're going to be using Charm to turn their frontliners back, then using Poison to try to get things done in the meantime, that kind of stuff. So yeah, have you finished AC? How was that? Absolutely phenomenal. And yes, I have. I've finished AC, finished New Game Plus, finished New Game Plus Plus, and then additionally have been doing a manual fire run and attempting to S-rank every mission in it. It's basically modern Armored Core 3 Silent Line. Like, it's a more modern take on that whole idea. I mean, I was actually working on a video in the background of like the many times that it just straight up becomes Silent Line, like the amount of direct references and whatnot. Like, how many folks realized that when they were going and doing the mission where you're like one of the final missions on the destruction route, the one where you're fighting Freud, and noticed that they literally even had the Silent Line hallway. They had the satellite hallway in there. Like, who takes the time to do something that specific? Like, honestly, who else other than, like, obsessive Silent Line fans are going to notice that ever? Like, they actually did the Silent Line hallway, or the many times that they just added weirdly specific weapons from that game with, like, the ECM and Napalm guns and stuff. Or where they specifically brought in a mechanic that no one ever used, where you would use the pursuit rocket pods as a missile. Or a rocket, rather. That if you shoot the pursuit pod straight into something before it has a chance to deploy, it actually will do its damage as a rocket. Which, again, nobody used that mechanic, but they gladly brought it back anyway. You know, you just love to see that kind of stuff. Alright, let's see if this one wants to join, maybe... No? Alright, cool. That's fine. That's okay. I'm not judging you. Kind of judging you, but not completely judging you. Only a little bit. Alright. The block. Right. Charm would definitely help a lot here. There we go. Yeah, we're pretty much exclusively going to be running Wizards when it comes to the level 1 run. So we're going to be gimped in terms of movement. We're going to be gimped in terms of having basically no defense, but we are going to be running mostly Beast Tamers and Wizards for that one, probably. We'll see when we get there, though. No, one thing at a time. Anyway, I need to get you back up on your feet, please. There we go. Get you back up. I didn't have all the time in the world today, so we're pretty much stopping in like 30 minutes here. Just so y'all are aware. But we're gonna try to get as much done as possible. Let's see, 5%, 3%, 10%. I mean, try it. There we go. See, never doubt that 10%. Okay, so one charmed, we got one over there. What about you? Do you like getting shot right now? Probably. I'm hoping if I move this archer here, he'll become more of a tempting target. I did forget to upgrade him to his longbow. No need to point that out. Let's see, Knight's coming up relatively soonish, so might as well go for the Berserker. I have a feeling that her loyalty is going to be relatively lowish. That might give us a bit more to play with. Where's the Knight? Okay, Knight's up there. Let's see. That Warrior he wouldn't be able to do anything to. He actually might be able to go for the Berserker in this case. He isn't running a crit card, so we should be able to hammer safely. 13% ain't bad. I mean, we're not going to take it this round, but maybe later. Okay. Out of curiosity, can you make it to that other side? Yes. Okay. We've already got a couple good archers, so I don't need to worry about that one too much. Didn't get the recruit because that second attack missed. Yeah, we're going to start really hating shields on level 1, I can tell you that much. Because a lot of this, again, is kind of a scouting run for some of the challenges that we'll run into for level 1. You know, Sarge are going to be a completely different beast, and man oh man, this lady refuses to go down, does she? So with a run like this, what do you think is the most challenging part of it? Something you feel you need to keep in mind? They didn't... Here, let me readjust the window so I can read that properly. So they didn't play the game normally. Right now it's kind of a mechanical exploration because we're not 100% sure exactly what the mod does in every situation. So what I'm finding interesting right now is just how we're going to adapt to using more or less like a random team throughout the entire run. And basically scouting out for the level 1 run. Because for the level 1 run, there's a lot of mechanics that are just kind of like a bare minimum kind of effect that a lot of abilities were given. You know, the 30% chance to hit when Spell Strike is activated minimum, or, you know, at least minimum 20% dodge odds, that kind of stuff. So those kinds of things are really, really strong, but kind of an unsung thing during a regular run, and they basically would become the crux of the playthrough for a level 1 type situation. And more or less what I'm hoping for is to maybe discover some additional tricks that would help in that, in this case. So we'll see. This is basically turning into the recruit everything run, you know, slowly but surely. Where we noticed that we basically can't raise any levels in the party, with exception to recruit, which we got access to courtesy of Donalto, Sarah, and Voltaire joining, since they were actually able to recruit. They show up at 5. Let's see, it's sad that we can't do battles against other players. That would be a lot of fun. Yeah, it would be. It's kind of weird that they finally created the potentially perfect multiplayer version of this game and then just never brought back the multiplayer mechanic, which is... I mean, it's weird to call it that because it really wasn't much of a multiplayer mechanic in PSP. It was just like a challenge team-making thing, closer to a map editor than actually a, you know, multiplayer mechanic. But still, you know, it's a cool idea. And for those that have actually gone and tried the multiplayer mode in PSP, there was a lot of fun that could be had with all the characters at max stats. Where surprisingly the balance was really good at low stats, really good at max stats, and it's just everything in the middle that could potentially lead to some very one-sided fights. That typically was what people ran into. Alright. Anyway, I don't want to kill off that unit just yet. I'm going to have him start attacking this dude, because he can actually do decent damage against him. We are going to take a few casualties here, unfortunately. But, again, that's going to be the nature of the run. We need to constantly replace our people. Alright. But now that we have the fight somewhat under control, we really should start doing that. I mean, there are certainly going to be those fights where we're probably going to want to directly enroll for recruits, but again, we're playing this by ear. It's going to be a lot of peaks and valleys, just so you know. Like, I'm confident enough in knowing kind of the pacing of this thing that I pretty much know when we're going to run into specific peaks and valleys. Like, it's basically this fight that's going to be a little bit of a thing. Next fight should be fairly easy if we have at least a couple of characters that are kind of on par. If we just drop one breach and then several attacks onto any one of the griffins, it's an easy win. First fight Valmamusa is completely easy, but second fight kind of varies. Where the second fight, you can potentially run into a whole lot of roadblocks. But again, we'll play this as we do. Let's see, multiplayer would be awesome. Is it possible with the mod or something? No, unfortunately. There's no mod options that would work in this case. Alright, anyway, this is what we keep the extra Blessing Stone for Denim around for. Get our lifeline going. Hopefully that lane should be more or less blocked. Let's see. No point in wasting our items. We're just going to move them out this direction. See, the problem is characters with cards or charms in multiplayer. See, but that's the thing. Like, I personally, like, if there was an option to just completely take out cards and charms, I would, because it's, like, it is very, very well balanced without those. I mean, the charms are basically a cheat. I mean, granted, you do still need an absolute shitload of them to be able to have any real, like, lasting effect. I mean, if somebody's playing well and, like, they have, like, let's say, you know, 20, 30 stat advantages over another player, and the other person just knows what they're doing a lot better, those 20, 30 stats across the board won't make much of a difference. But, again, it all will depend. Let's see, especially Lord Diamond Ogre set. Yeah, like, funnily enough, I don't know how it would work in this case, but I find it a little bit funny that in PSP, all of those sets were actually kind of balanced. Like, literally, they would work in multiplayer. It's kind of strange. Where you basically only had one Ogre set user. They could only get so far by themselves. Alright. And we lost our starting cleric, which is a bit of a bummer. Oh my goodness. The AI just playing up to their pincer strengths. Alright. Then we just switch Voltaire over to a healing role here. Really all we need to actually win this fight now is, well, just to get that one dude surrounded. All our level 1s are going to be more likely to get tagged as opposed to everybody else. We lost a couple of our casters, but they're replaceable. But I'm going to see if I can recruit anybody, maybe. 0% odds. Because, yeah, unfortunately, our knight really won't be able to do much of a threat versus their leader. Like, at this stage of the game is when it's a little bit weird, just because you've got stats mattering a whole lot more than later. Like, once you get past about 8 or 10 or so, the stats matter a whole lot less. Like, everyone's more or less got enough to the point where they can make it by just fine. Alright. Don't suppose you have Pincer? Yes, you do. Okay. So if we move the Knight into position here, go ahead and get our Berserker healed up slightly. They should just be able to stall for time. So we need like maybe 3 or 4 more attacks from that Berserker and the Soldier, and we should be all set to go. And then we also got the zombie ready to go at some point too. 1%? Whatever, roll it. You've got the points to spend on this. Probably could have played that a little bit better by moving some of the knights behind, but I'm thinking we probably have enough in the tank right now, because even if he takes out the Berserker, we should still have enough with the Warrior there. And then hopefully this one has enough to... Let's see, you're an archer, right? You're an archer. You're a one-handed sword. You're a hammer, you might do a little bit better. This guy's got high loyalty, though. This one also has high loyalty. That's a bummer. What about you? Okay, this one hates him. So, We're not going to accomplish anything in low loyalty with the other guy, but we can go ahead and do something like that. 19%, that should give us a bit more meat. If it happens, and there goes Folk. Well, it was nice having you for the one fight that we had, you buddy. Bit of a shame, bit of a shame. Alright, kind of falling into dicey territory right now, but I think between the zombie and this guy we can still make it work. Because basically every random fight is going to turn into a boss fight here, except there goes Denim, so that's a problem. We still have one more means to revive him, so we'll go ahead and use that with our Knight. So I'm thinking if the Knight goes, attacks the dude over there, attempts to recruit him, then next round attempts to go for the revive, that could potentially still turn this around enough to be a win. Essentially, him... Well, if he was recruited, then it would have been enough to be able to have him move forward a little bit, to essentially take the hits that this guy would have taken here, which would have allowed him to attack one more time, which would have put Denim and the Knight back into play there, which would have allowed the zombie to come back, which then could have gone and pincered together with the basic soldier guy, who then could have hopefully gotten a few more attacks out of them that way. Let's see here, though. How do we turn this around? We can potentially move over here. If we get extremely lucky, there's like a really small chance to be able to still pull this off with the Knight, but I think that might be the end of that one. Let's see, Ravenous can lose? Yeah, she can. Let's see, that's so sad. The FFT community has so many awesome mods and modifications for the game. We need that too. Let's kidnap those modders from the Ogre community. It would be nice. It would be nice. There was Gibbed, which was actually looking into making a multiplayer mod for One Vision for a decently long time, or at the very least allowing more maps into the multiplayer mode. Which, interestingly enough, he found ways to add more stuff to that map, but it didn't really necessarily do anything particularly new. That is to say, it didn't really do anything particularly useful. Right. Now, essentially right now, we would be relying on something extremely unlikely, where a physical card would have to spawn, and he would have to get a natural crit to be able to still pull this off. Which is, needless to say, a little bit unlikely, but that's fine. It's, this run is definitely bound to have a few resets. Alright. You'll be Frank. Alright. Nice to meet you, Frank. How's it going? Alright. Let's do that again. That'd be the Ogre Battle Liberation Front. Alright, so, here's the thing. We need a few different items here. For one thing, our knights need to be carrying a few extra tools. You want to carry a breach. You want to also carry a breach. Additionally, it wouldn't be a bad idea to carry a dodge as well. Let's go with that on you. You also get one of each, as well as a revive item or two. It's really good to keep your revives on your zombies. So there we go, we'll just pop you on there. So I used to dream of balance mod for Tactics Ogre Luck. I'm happy with what I have, but a bit more would be awesome. Yeah, more Ogre never hurts. Also would help if I actually upgraded these guys to their correct weapons, because yeah, one of the weapons that really did not end up really doing the best that it could in this version would definitely be the stone bow. It had this weird thing in the original where it had a slight bonus in the early game that made it slightly better. Like in this particular case, it gets 1% extra scaling damage and all that, and it's technically arguable to the longbow, but it's got way shorter range, so. It's basically the same stats, it's just slightly different. Alright. I think these guys might still not be running their corrective hence. So you do that. Weapon-wise, I think you're doing fine. I kind of want to maybe switch her out for the axe, but loss of 3 strength ain't worth it. Let's see, the casters are fine, you are fine. Do we have any better swords that we picked up for some reason? I don't know why you'd necessarily want to switch, but whatever, worth a thought, and that'll do. That should be all we need. Don't forget the bows, already switched. Alright. Alright. I should point out, by the way, as far as the cards, charms, whatever else that we were talking about earlier, it just occurred to me um, that somebody might have thought I meant the buff cards. Personally, I think the buff cards are great, but I would say the stat cards were what I was referring to there. Like, the buff cards are one of those things that's considered contentious about this one to some. But, like, the passives before, the annoying alternative is kind of what was there before, where characters would just come in with all of those passives already. And the passives themselves were very fun when they worked, but then half the passives would just knock out the other half of the passives. So it was just a case of you randomly would show up, and sometimes your passives would work, other times they wouldn't. And so, like, you had these cases where, you know, like, you had a unit that specifically liked to use strength in a whole bunch, and well, suddenly they don't get to utilize their strength in because the other guy has fortify. What can you do about it? Absolutely nothing. But anyway, yeah, it was just kind of a funny situation. I mean, like, basically the way the One Vision handled it was locking it to gear instead, which is definitely a good way to handle it. Like, again, if we had all of the knobs to turn from One Vision, along with all of the quality of life and, like, tone improvements, or speed improvements and pacing improvements, I guess is the best way to put it, from Reborn, that would be freaking amazing. Like, I love the way that they handled the elements in this one. I love the way that they redid the debuffs and stuff like that. To be way stronger than they used to be, so that you really feel it when a breach hits. The way that you've got those guaranteed odds on buffs and debuffs and whatnot. It just feels good. Like, it just feels good. You don't necessarily need to know the stats. It's just like, okay, they use the buff. The buff is always going to matter. It's nice. It's just a nice little guarantee. It feels good. Alright, probably remember to actually buff my my casters this time around so they don't fold like tissue paper immediately. And this is why we needed the longbows, so that we can actually get shots off on round 1. And actually get past their defenses. There we go. Alright. I think I'm actually going to go ahead and pick up a crit card on Denim, just in case he needs to save anybody with positioning. Alright. We're going to go in this direction, fire advantage on ice, take a little bit of extra damage. Not going to have any odds to recruit anyway, so we're just going to leave that as is. Probably want a bit of a bonk bonus on our knight. It seems like they lasted reasonably long. If I can get them at least one skill card, they should be nigh invincible, so that'd be pretty handy. And see, personally, I just really like the mentality of switching over to a thought of like, okay, if I pick up that thing over there, then I can pretty much guarantee that their skills are always going to be active, rather than, well, you know, I'm never going to use Phalanx because this takes 75 TP to trigger, and I'm never going to use that as opposed to a finisher. So, you know. Like, you had several skills that literally were only ever on the AI side, not because the player couldn't use them, but because there was no practical reason for a player to want to use some of the more boring skills. Whereas if it's something that basically has no cost associated, people are more willing to go and experiment. See, how many skill trigger cards does one character need to trigger their skill every time? Depends on the skill. The skill odds are 15 to 40%, so some of them literally only need 2. To have permanent activation of their skills. So stuff like Meditate or whatnot, you pick up 2 skill cards, you'll never run out of MP again. Or in the case of, well, you know, within reason. If you're spamming Apocrypha every round, you probably want an MP plus or something. But either way, if we're talking about kind of having those in an infinite sense, whereas something like Phalanx probably wants 3 of them. Each of the cards is a 30% increase to the hit odds for that card. And additionally, you can spawn whichever cards you'd like by just going and breaking props if you don't happen to have enough. So there's that. I don't think Lynette's going to get much of a chance to do any direct damage, but we'll go ahead and give it a shot. Alright. Let's see. Some tremendous shot. Any lightning enjoyers over on their team? Not really. Let's go ahead and snipe that guy. See, but again, that was like throughout this entire experience, there's been a whole lot of stuff like that, though, where there's just, like, little guaranteed things, like how, you know, archers always get friggin' looked down upon, or at least used to. I feel like there's definitely more of a, definitely more of an understanding of how they work now, but this whole thing of like, oh, they do no damage. Have you tried breaking defenses? Oh, but then I have to set things up. I have to babysit this unit, and then in reality, it's more like they do like 3-4 times as much damage if you just do some slight defense breaks. Anyway, glad to help, Raider. Okay, do we maybe have a shot at just getting this wizard, actually? Because we certainly could use another one of you. Nice. Okay, handy. Very handy. And we can go ahead and see about setting up this recruit for the night, then. There we are. That wizard's probably going to die immediately before he gets a chance to do anything useful, but still, you know, it's a cool find. Let's see. We're stretching a little far, but she can definitely keep the guy out of the fight by attacking her. 0%. Don't know why I went for it. Either way, he's out of the fight for the time being. Should buy us a little bit more time. Denham's going to be in that direction, which doesn't really do anything for us. Alright. Ravenous is definitely going to help that recruit. Nice. Okay. We need to keep Denham a bit better protected, though. Like I said, this is definitely going to turn into more of a chess match type situation. I would like to see this archer taken out of play, though. So we'll just charm him real quick, pick up another match-up card. She actually should be pretty well set to nuke stuff pretty soon. Yeah, since magic is one of those things that generally bypasses defenses a lot more, but also tends to not have as high of a cap, since you're mostly getting a damage maximum increase from your cards, it's why they seem to affect them extra. Let's poison you. Oh, Ravenous is right over there. Whoops. Whoopsie. Okay. Okay, get out of here. With your own, I can only take a few arrows to the neck. Okay. Any way we can push you back? No, but if he crits, we might be able to do a whole 10 damage. That's actually another one of those things that the level 1 run is going to rely on a whole bunch. That there's going to be quite a few cases where we're literally just doing knockback damage. Alright, a few more shots on that caster. We lose one of ours, but that's okay. That's why we're going to be relying on the basics. If we can get some heavy hitters, though, that would let us actually hit this guy a little bit. Like, funnily enough, on level 1, is one of those cases where it pretty much turns into a genocide route by definition. Just because in many cases you might potentially be left in a situation where you got to chip away at a boss, and that, like, you just simply don't have enough time to do that if anything's still alive. So, if we go ahead and take that one out, like, worst case scenario, if we have to surround him by a bunch of phalanx units and just beat him down with shields, then that's what we're going to end up doing. Hopefully we get some better solutions along the way, though. Stab. Nothing from you. Yeah, once we get into Chapter 2, though, is when this one's really going to take off. Just like most challenge runs, I feel. It's actually surprising how many kind of Tactics Ogre runs legitimately only properly get going in Chapter 2. Like, as soon as you either have access to Farampa, or you have access to additional units of some description. Like, for this one, this is going to be one of the ones that that only really gets us much of a party expansion once we get access to, like, Aerocell there. Because then we get the Aerocell, then we get the Liberation Front people, then suddenly we have basically a party that's fully ready to go. From there, we can expand on that idea even farther, but either way, once we get to about the 10 to 20 range, that's when we can really just kind of start steamrolling through maps. Once we get a hold of like the Chapter 3 and 4 people, we'll start seeing more there. I'm thinking Law Route's probably the way to go, just because we get more consistent recruits, which would allow for bypassing the level cap a little bit easier. Neutral technically has more overall recruits, but it's going to be harder to actually get a hold of them, especially the neutral trio. Especially since it's arguable that it's optional, so we wouldn't necessarily begin to be able to get them. I don't know. But I feel like law is probably the way to go for this one. Alright. Alright, any knights coming up? Yes, we've got the one knight. Can you at least chip this guy? He can only do 2. What about the soldier? Soldier, a bit more, and we can maybe up that to a 20. Still not super impressive. Whatever, it's something. Okay. That one, you get stabbed. Can we recruit the birdie, though? Only because the birdie should be an easier target. So if we can get him, that's one more piece off the board. Or the shot. And also we can kind of set him up for the knight there to attempt to go for a backup recruit. Right, lost our casters, this is fine. Ish. Everything is fine-ish. Unfortunately, we're still kind of in the early awkward phase, as it were. This is basically the same thing that happened with Nothing Burger. We were just kind of in that phase where it's like little piece by little piece, you know, just crawling forward through Chapter 1. Then you get to Chapter 2 and stuff gets going. Except in the case of Nothing Burger, it just kind of turned out to be a Nothing Burger. Yeah. Because not only did nobody want to friggin' watch that thing, it was also a case where it just kind of stopped being fun. Like, you could tell that it's doable, but it was the no in-cap part of that rule set that was just annoying. I mean, I've said for years that I really hate doing no in-cap runs of any kind, because I, you know, like doing more risky plays in these things. Playing everything ridiculously safe just, it's just really dull. So, you know, it's kind of a heartbreaking experience to keep redoing the same part over and over and over because somebody got a crit, you know? Anyway. But we are going to be wrapping it up relatively soonish here. Whether this succeeds or fails, we'll find out in a few minutes. Okay, he's got a crit card. There's a chance. Yes, I know, phone. I know. So yeah, we haven't even been able to get Bolus in the position yet. It would take either archers or it would take shields to do meaningful damage to the guy right now. Alright. Join or die, please. Thank you for joining. And I'll just go ahead and get her back up on her feet. Which should then allow for a little bit of charming, provided that they have the right stuff on hand. They do not, but they do have a heal, so that's something. I should probably go and bring the other one back too, so they can hopefully start doing a few things that don't involve dying. Good job. Alright. Then we go for the hammer, go for the 5%. Nice. Alright, cool. This just got way easier. Anybody else want to keep this gravy train rolling? Like you, for example. Would you also like to defect? Please defect. Aw, that would have been really disheartening for him. Fine, fine. Alright. Anyway, we need to get this guy out of the way, but this dude can move real far. Just safety Joel the Avatar, I guess. Although I have a feeling we're going to have to start using Filters of Ashes pretty much all the time on him. I mean, we have our 2 warrior units. All we need to do is just mop up at this point. They've mostly got archers. They've got 1 berserker. Hopefully we can get that recruited. Even Warren himself is here to see the money. Yeah, dude's around all the time. It's great. Alright, need to get some of these archers mopped up. Like, firmly on anti-archer duty right now. Ah. we'll get him back. In her case, though, I'm just going to make a quick exception to my usual rule, because she's in a pretty good position to take advantage of that fizz up right now. Let's move you here. See about getting you on the team. I was trying to find a spot that didn't involve her standing next to that fizz card, as that thing is potentially dangerous if the boss gets it. I want him to be ready to do a... Yeah, if we move him over here, he can move in to do a big dramatic revival of one of our casters if we know that we have enough time to pull this off. We'll see, though. One recruit on you. No recruit. Then there is death. Recruit on you. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, you do have another revive item. We need her using that revive item on that soldier next round, because we need to get him back up on his feet, since he's going to be one of our heavy hitters at this point. There goes our initial recruit guy, who just gave us more spells. Good job. Zombie goes down. It's fine. She'll be back in a few seconds. Recruiting an archer means that we not only take out one of their archers, but it also gives our own archers a bit more play here. Anyway. But either way, that's a nice little distraction. We don't necessarily need to keep her for the long haul. Which is cold-hearted, but it's also kind of accurate here, so okay. We need you up 2 tiles, hopefully not getting shot by the archer, but still having the means to do so. I want you doing a safety revive over here. So we do 1 revive on Dorothy, who I'm hoping will be able to drop a poison or something, maybe. She should just... yeah, she actually is not going to be within range to do anything useful. It's alright, we'll move her out of the way for now. We get to see all of the death quotes this time, as that douche goes and steals our stuff. Alright, go ahead and take a card, attack on a tile that he can't get knocked back from, do a recruit, see if he wants to join. Nope. Alright. Anyway, that guy on his heels is going to be a bit of a pain. We need to get our pincer into position. It's really time for that to get going. Alright, guy's in slightly worse shape now. We got 1 more revive. That needs to go on that soldier. You can't get to the soldier. So instead go for the other recruit here. Unfortunately knocked backwards. That was a bit of an unlucky knockback. If we fire from here, the question is which direction will this guy go? Because if he gets knocked backwards this way... Actually, that should still be fine. I was going to say it potentially puts her in a more dangerous position, but it also puts her in a position where she can attack him back. She's not really the main one that I wanted to have back on their feet right now, but whatever she'll do as a distance attacker anyway. Alright, not much for Denim to do. Yeah, there goes our really buffed caster. Everyone's getting bunked. Okay. Join, please. Worth a shot. Alrighty, next one. She definitely needs that crit card. Unfortunately, she's got nothing defensively or recovery going on. That'd be pretty handy. But with any luck, this zombie will be able to recruit this berserker. If the berserker's out of play, that makes that right side a lot safer. And basically guarantees the win here. I'm gonna take that 24%. Nope. Alright. We need that soldier back, though. She's running out of time. She's going to attempt one last recruit. If this doesn't work, then She has to go recruit, or she has to go recover, or she has to go get the guy back up on his feet. Move over here so that maybe she might be able to do both at once. He's going to go for the lucky crit shot here. Didn't accomplish anything. Lucky crits, if they run into something, still do 10 damage. He would have just been knocked backwards in that case, but it still might have helped. Oh, I know, Esmond. It's okay. It's okay. You do you. We will judge you profusely. Alright. Beautiful. Beautiful lucky parry is beautiful. Anyway, start carving at this guy. He doesn't have enough to actually penetrate, or she doesn't have enough to penetrate defenses at this point. So there's clutching hard here. She sure is. Like, once we get past this point, once we kind of can expand the party a bit more, this is really, as strange as it sounds, probably one of the roughest parts of the run as it is. Where, like, once you get past Chapter 1, and your options expand quite a bit, like, especially story-wise, since we're limited to only story recruits, we potentially could have a lot more options on hand. There's way more leeway. Come on. Actually, we have our thingy right here. Alright, Sarah, come on. Be more convincing than you've ever been. Ah. Just because I don't necessarily know if he's going to be able to survive long enough, I want to go for the crit and the pincer here. Unfortunate. Nice. Jeez. Yeah, Sarah is really, really doing some wonders here. Zombie goes down, still coming in clutch. That one zombie is just extremely solid. I think this Berserker is just going to have to go at this point. I'll give one more tap. Kind of whatever that ends up giving us. That's probably the... Really? Went for the soldier. Alright, whatever. Just keep hacking away, I suppose. As Voltaire starts to get beat down here. Alright, putting him in a risky spot, but that's intentional. Go for the low chance recruit. I probably should have gone for one of the other ones. He's going to do next to nothing on Grion, who again, in his particular case, like, Grion is a especially high vitality guy. Just take out our Berserker then if he doesn't want to join. Mr. Loyal Berserker. We're going to lose Denim there. That's kind of intentional. Heal up our soldier. And then just start piling. Alright. The hope is that we can maybe land a poison on him eventually. Nice. Should have gone for a recruit on the other side, but figured we can probably just snipe this guy and call it good, because we're going to have a zombie back in just a moment. She should be helping out with the rest. So yeah, she goes there. How's Denim's turns going to look? I don't know. Anyway, as long as the soldier's standing, we're doing good. In fact, we might be better off just going for the pincers. Because yeah, she does 37. It's probably more worthwhile to just attack with her. She's got an upgraded spear. She's got pretty good odds here. Yeah, this is winnable as long as, well, as long as he doesn't spawn 4 more of himself, frankly. Like, It's just barely enough, but it is going to be enough. In fact, you are going to go for the recruit. Because Bolus by himself can't do enough to do anything more serious than he's currently doing. He's going to get in a position to shoot against a wall somewhere. You're going to get into a position to do a pincer, and then that should do it. Alright, one more round and we're done here. I just need... oh, almost. I forgot that he does that whole thing. Alright, is that a water tile? That is not a water tile. Okay. Do we want to lucky crit this? No. Alright, make a break anyway. You either join or... goodbye then. Or not. So what's everyone's favorite class? Rune Fencer. Not even a question. They just can do everything really, really well. Right. Go there. Crit. %. Crap. Yeah, that's that. That sucks. So basically what happened there, I was hoping that her crit would activate any one of those turns prior, and it didn't. And he rolled a 14% dodge. Hell, he rolled a 7% parry before that too. That was a bit of a bummer. Really darn close, but I do have to get going for the day. Anyway, we'll see in the next one. Enchantress aesthetically, yeah, understandable. So you kind of threw in Denim, could have won. Yeah, that was the other thing. Like, basically the way that I was timing it out, the plan was that he would go in, he would distract the one unit over there, and then essentially everybody else could move in on Bolus and then surround him, which almost worked. Yeah, so. Anyway, yeah, I got a little bit too eager. It happens. Additionally, come to think of it, we probably could do some stuff with Canopus next round. Because he does have battle axes, so that's actually some of the higher attack bonus that we can get at this point. Actually, he has Knuckles, too, which could potentially do something. Out of curiosity. Because, yeah, Canopus with Knuckles would actually be doing better than the zombie, so that's probably worth subbing somebody in for. Anyway, alright. Let's see, Rune Fencer, Terra 9, Beast Tamer favorites. Yeah, I can definitely can see that. Because, yeah, Fencer and Valkyrie is just so viable at every possible situation that it's awesome. Terra Knight, the whole Breach and Fear combo is beyond ridiculous. And then, yeah, like Tamers with their long-range lobber bombs and stuff like that. Alright. Anyways, gotta get going. Y'all have yourselves a good one, and I'll see you in the next one.